All right, I made it in. How are you doing?
Yep. I'm good.
Excellent. Good. It's always nice when it works out, you know?
Exactly,
Sometimes it
yeah.
does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't really know. Hopefully a fix will come before too terribly long. Now, we're not seeing a huge number of resources yet. We do have carbon, iron, and aluminum, but not in large numbers. So it looks like both players just kind of holding out till they can find slightly better spots.
So now, before we go, further into the game, like, what do you think of these both players? Like, we already have seen them, like, play a little bit, we know them a little bit, but what do you think? Like one versus one scenario.
Well, with these players, I'm not sure. Like, Phreak has a really interesting style all his own, right? He likes to play the game in a kind of unique way. He likes to throw out really random things. Indecision, on the other hand, he seems a bit more sticking to the tried and true, right? What people are used to doing. But as the two matching up is going to go, I'm honestly not sure. It's just, I don't know what to expect from these two.
Well, right now, out of Phreak, I'm sorry, but like Scavenger, there's not that much carbon. So.
It is a bit odd, especially I think because his opponent went scientific. I think this was potentially a pretty good game for actually an expansive colony to go down. You've got access to some valuable high tiles in both iron and water that you can make some good use of, and your opponent not going to be able to throw out the black market effects of someone like a Scavenger, and he's not going to be upgrading as quickly as someone like a Robotic. So it could have been a really, really interesting expansive game, but he went Scavenger, and we'll have to see how that works out for him.
Ooh, Phreak actually bridging that early power surge. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's an
getting rid of the
early
steel,
power surge. I like the idea of it, right? I maybe would have liked to see it wait another 5 seconds because this auction was coming up, and if that had been Pirates, that would have been absolutely huge, and he maybe could have held off on the power surge.
Yeah, indeed.
Instead, though, we have a geotherm auction.
Yep, like right now going for 10k. I'm expecting to go like 14k ish, maybe 12 right now.
Yeah, 12 I think is kind of pushing it a little bit. Geotherms may be a bit difficult to use, but not bad tiles, all things considered. So it doesn't really surprise me to see that going for 12. Not as much as maybe a normal claim of like 16 or 18,000. Because I don't think that geotherm was necessarily a plan for either player. It was just if I happen to get it, it'll work out.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you can buy something for debt early on, go do it. Like, it's one of the best things to do. Right now, actually, indirection, like he's actually getting that. Oh man, he's actually getting that silicon. This is not like a little bit early on, or is this like what Scientific wants to do? And also, he's going to get that water in the bottom left.
Yeah, I think he's just making an effort to secure those high-value resources off of his level 2 upgrade. It's reasonable. It is interesting, this idea that he went scientific and then the map kind of turned out like this with a few very high-value tiles and not so much the easy-to-use kind of adjacency bonuses that you would expect a scientific player to be benefiting from.
And now Phreak actually moving out with 2 water pumps. I guess, doing what a Scavenger must do currently to get the life support problem in check. I'd actually like to see out of him, to get this geothermal, being getting used. Ooh, that water shortage.
Yeah, the water shortage. It's kind of good for both players that they have these water pumps available, but Indecision simply claiming the tiles, whereas Phreak went ahead and threw down his pumps, so he's certainly going to get more of a benefit out of this than Indecision is, even if he were to send out his water pumps right now. And there they go.
And there's a geo actually also going down, so really nice. And also a third steel mill going down for Indecision. So yeah, we have a game now for sure. Like both players have silicon. Indecision getting his water. Phreak already getting water. Already going to make that early water money. This looks more and more interesting.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see who's going to hit reactors first. Obviously, the water shortage came up, right? Water's going to be expensive for a while, but they both have solid water production. That should come down before too terribly long. And then we're noticing that both players are sending most of their buildings far away from their base, right? Having to spend a whole lot of debt on fuel, so that could make reactors exceptionally valuable this game.
Bidding will begin at
Just a little high iron auction. Wow, that one got away from me.
Don't worry, it happens to me all the time.
This isn't huge. You can do something like put power on it. Obviously, it's not bad to have more tiles, but we're seeing neither player driving it to that, 12,000 price of the geotherm yet. Potentially a 16 or 18 if they got to choose their own tile. So that's just hopping out here. And really, the auction's not as big an impact this game as we've seen in other 1v1s so far this tournament.
Actually, Phreak already getting that reactor, so I don't know. Like, water right now for him is not a problem. He already sold off a little bit of it. Has more cash.
Yep.
Than red right now. I mean, like, I'm gonna say Phreak right now is ahead, even though they're fairly close in stock price.
Oh, I think so too. Phreak, I believe also. I can check on this and make sure. I think. No, I can't. Hold on. Sad. I wanted to check and see to make sure that Phreak had purchased those 2 claims. I think he did. And so that gives him a massive claim advantage over Indecision, especially considering that he threw down second.
The black market is online.
Yeah. I mean, Indecision right now, as you said, putting that solar panel on that 3 stack of iron in the top right.
Scientific colony expanded.
So I don't know, but like he's still going minus. He's still getting that debt. I don't know. Phreak right now, he has that geothermal. I don't know. I think this geothermal is pretty much like slowly winning him the game because he's like not paying for power. Like he got this claim for debt, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, didn't really pay much for it, didn't get a claim. Like,
The black
didn't need to use a
market
claim,
is
sorry.
online.
Wow, a lot of things really going Phreak's way at the moment. The water shortage helped him out tremendously. Now there's an oxygen shortage which is going to help him out as well. And on top of that, there was a glass surplus, which could make it a bit harder for Indecision to go ahead and find his niche. He may just have to compete with Phreak when it comes to the oxygen and fuel production for those high-value resources, and already he's fallen so far behind when it comes to that. It's not really what you want to see.
Actually, Indecision actually purchased a nuke, underground nuke, so that lets we still need to wait when that's going to be played. And also, he was kind of desperate and actually threw down 2 solar panels. So right now, this I don't know. Indecision right now, I think he's a little bit desperate.
Yeah, he's not looking... He's still in it, for sure, definitely, right? Especially because Phreak, he's actually leaking quite a bit of power right now at 0.4 off of his geo. He may need to find a new source of power income before too long. But I have to question this glass furnace, right? I don't know exactly what's going on with this glass furnace, but I feel like it might have been much better served being something like a hacker array with just that single tile for the moment than trying to just pump out half a glass a second when a major glass surplus already came through and lowered that price significantly.
Right now, the auction for teleportation going on. Teleportation is, I'd say, easily one of the best patent, definitely the top 3 to get. Like, it's pretty much OP. So pretty much actually going for 28,000 right now for Indecision. I should stop talking. It's still going on. Indecision right now, 36,000.
Wow, I mean, teleportation was going to be valuable, especially with all this fuel production that's already been happening, but 36,000 is a lot of debt.
I'm not seeing that was suicide. I'm thinking right now that was pure suicide right now.
Double underground nukes coming out for Indecision. I love the idea. There's no carbon on the map. He wants to make sure Phreak can't make transitions, can't adjust to new buildings at all. But if he was going to do that, I don't know if pushing so hard for teleportation was the right call, because taking on that much debt could lead to a very quick end of the game.
Right now, actually, Phreak only owning 60% of Indecision. Like, I don't know, like nuking them was definitely like a good idea. Definitely would have worked out about like 2 minutes ago for sure. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. Like, Phreak has so much going for him. It's, he has reactors, water, sorry. Like, he has all the claims, that he needs to actually win this game. So I'm not really seeing it right now for an decision.
Yeah, Phreak. Now, the one thing to be said about Phreak, his reactors are starting to stall out, especially because fuel is not being supported by any of Indecision's production at this point. Indecision has much faster access to some of his resources because of the teleportation, and Phreak might have a difficult time actually making a transition because of his, well, just shortage on carbon, because he's not making any from those underground nukes. But I don't see where Indecision's edge truly lies right now. So it's still kind of a hard game to call.
Actually, that power surge going down in the bottom left right now for Phreak. Indecision, he's as he said, he also kind of stalled out for about 40 more seconds. So right now the game actually stalling out just a little bit. Like, it's going a little bit slow, less and less action. But again, like, a lot of resources being produced. Actually, the EMP going down for Indecision. Phreak, actually stopped now for quite a while. But, game stalling out just a little bit. I think, Phreak should save up his glass and actually go into food. Like, I think that would be a very good choice to make. Like, that's why probably he made that, glass furnace. The little glass furnace that could, I guess.
Yep, but Indecision going to be the one to make the more powerful food transition first. He's got 2 farms flying out right now. He did freeze out Phreak's 1 farm for a moment, and the thing about Phreak's 1 farm is Phreak's 1 farm not actually able to make him any money at this stage of the game. All it can do is slow down his acquisition of debt. So it's not really going to be keeping up as much as he would want it to, and it's not going to be contributing until he can get some nice adjacency bonuses going with it. Would love to potentially see him scrap that carbon production and move into just full-on food.
Oh yeah, that would be definitely nice for sure. Like, maybe also get that 12,000 claim off of the black market and then just eject everything together. I would like to see that. And also right now, Phreak actually got pirates for 10,000. He didn't want to have Indecision, getting those pirates, but
yeah, that's interesting.
Phreak just spent 10K and he can't really do anything with it.
Yeah,
so
and it was purely protecting himself. That's it. That's all it could do. So it's another 10K debt for free. Ooh, a glass shortage. I actually don't know who this is going to benefit more. I have to assume the Scavenger, because he was going to know about it ahead of time. He was able to buy into it. Good 200 glass right now is what Phreak is sitting on.
Yeah.
But it does make that transition to food even more difficult, and food's certainly the moneymaker at this stage of the game.
Yeah, right now, Indecision, actually, he has his, 4 tiles, just pumping out food, even on teleport, so he gets that food. He doesn't need to wait until one of the farms, gets 60 units. No, he's going to get them right away. So, right now, Indecision, I think he's, game, turned around. He's definitely up there. He's definitely, came back swinging and, fighting for the win right now.
For sure. I think it was all about when that food transition happened. And this moving into a glass furnace when there was a glass surplus going on is just kind of a wasted tile. And Phreak already had so many effectively, basically wasted tiles making all this water that's worth almost nothing at this stage of the game. It's just turned it into a very difficult situation. And Indecision really just pushing forward for the win on this food production.
Yeah, he doesn't need much more to actually buy out Phreak. So, I'm going to say it right here. I'm going to call it a game. Like, Indecision, I don't see a way, he could lose right now. Phreak actually going into that second glass furnace.
Far more reasonable at this stage of the game after the shortage occurred, but it might just be too little too late.
Yeah.
And we can see, here's the huge thing we were talking about earlier with those underground nukes. Carbon is up at $85 right now, and Phreak's having to pay for most of the buildings that he's making. Just so much money. And that's pretty huge.
Definitely what you said, like, get rid of the your carbon mines and then, just build on them, because right now he, 0.75 carbon isn't that much. If you're really thinking about that, like other scavengers, like on 2 claims, they would make at least 6 carbon.
I love this decision from Indecision, by the way. One of his solar panels got blown up, and so he was just like, forget it. I don't need to put solar panels over there. I can have some glass furnaces and cut into that production as well. making sure to cut off any potential avenue my opponent has to get back into this game by just matching him in terms of his production.
The black market is online.
Indecision actually 70% out to buying Phreak, so he's fairly close, but Phreak still can maybe stall this out and maybe can come back. Ooh, definitely not with that EMP going down. But yeah, I just want to say maybe come back, pay off some of his debt. Maybe just doing something at this point.
I am a bit worried that Indecision keeps making transitions rather than just going for the finish. He can probably pull it off, but it's looking a little dicier by the moment as he gives Phreak more and more time to just find something to do to hit back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this right now is actually Indecision. Yeah, he's switching around kind of much. You're right. Like going into reactors, actually, selling off to farms, going into reactors, getting rid of a steel, making a solar panel and iron. It's that switching around. You're very right.
And it's also interesting, I think, that he chose to kind of move away from his steel and into iron, and like move away from his power and adjust his positioning on his power as well, and all this stuff going on where he just has this one high iron tile that he's been using for power the whole time. Maybe he could have just, if he wanted a metal mine, put it down up there and gotten a lot of benefit without having to change so many buildings around and spend quite as much money.
Yeah, Indecision right now actually got rid of 2 iron mines and it's actually going to power right now, which I think that's actually an okay switch because iron not really worth it right now and power actually at 95 and not moving. So that's I'd say that's fairly okay. But definitely, like, I don't know, Indecision kind of stalling out the buy against Phreak, so
yeah,
maybe Phreak has a slight chance, like maybe through a miracle.
Ooh, though, this steel shortage.
Ooh.
It's unfortunate for Indecision that he's not into steel right now. But
the black market is online.
and so Phreak might get the huge benefit out of this, but afterward we'll have to see what happens. Indecision's going to have a much easier time potentially transitioning into that steel production, can scrap all of his power if he wants to, if the steel price stays high after Phreak's done with his little shortage. But the shortage might just have given Phreak the avenue he needed to win the game.
Phreak is 90% out to actually buying Indecision.
Yep. And but the shortage didn't quite push it there. It's still at 91. Indecision still has a shot, but he's tanked a lot of money doing whatever he's been up to.
Phreak is ahead now in money. Phreak has he almost has 100,000. Like he can pull this off. Like that's the comeback we're talking about. Definitely, like making that money through glass.
And Indecision just dancing around a whole lot, giving Phreak lots of time to churn out black market effects as a scavenger. Could be causing a lot of problems. But
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if Phreak could push for that last 10%. I guess there's another shortage coming in, and these constant shortages definitely more to the benefit of the scavenger than the scientist. But the debt is starting to get out of control for Phreak. And Indecision, his power is very, very quickly transitioning from paying off debt to making money. And if he can push through with that, it'll be a very good, nice play for him.
Definitely. As I said, it was definitely a nice play since Iron Mines wasn't really the best thing to do. So actually switching into solar panels was the right thing. Ooh, Phreak actually getting a little bit desperate. Power price already dropping, but he thought, I still have claims. Let me go for solar panels. I don't really agree with this. Like he definitely could go like more into reactors, maybe, like just last ditch effort. Going to reactors.
There's the red.
Ooh.
That was the red plus sign. Indecision sitting on 100% for about the last 15-20 seconds there. He pulled it off. Once his solar panels finally stopped paying debt, they turned into a fantastic source of income that allowed him to just finish up the game.
That was nice. So actually to the post-game stuff. Actually, as you can see, Indecision right now, he actually sold a lot of steel and sold 152,000 in power. That is a lot of power.
Yep, steel and power really doing pretty huge work for indecision in that game. He got it done with those solar panels in particular. He had 3 up most of the game, even though he didn't have fantastic adjacency on all of them, and then moved into 4 when power kept going up and up and up, and Phreak just sat on the 1 geotherm almost the whole time. And even at level 3, it wasn't enough to actually maintain a power surplus, so indecision just taking big advantage off of that and coming out with the game.
And also Phreak spending 60,000 more in the black market than indecision. So yeah, that's also definitely.
I think
We
he made
noticed.
good use of it most of the time. We saw a lot of very well-placed power surges and EMPs. I was concerned about how early the initial power surge came down, especially because it does seem quite likely that Phreak possibly sold his glass at that point to make the power surge happen, which can just make hitting HQ level 2 that hair harder than it needed to be, and things of that sort might have just slowed him down for the duration of that game.
Yep, that's I guess about it.
Yeah, we can also look. I mean, one thing Phreak did do well. Phreak, as a scavenger player, had the early warning on the shortages and definitely took advantages out of it. We can see he sold about 80,000 steel, and he only purchased about 46,000. Basically, all of that was coming from use of that steel shortage, things of that nature. Very similar thing happened with glass earlier. All kinds of stuff like that. Phreak made good use of that game, but I think it comes down to the fact that Phreak actually had to purchase $66,000 in carbon and only
As a
sold 40,000
scavenger.
as a scavenger.
That
A
is-
scavenger.
Wow, that is kind of a lot. That is. Yeah, as I said, that was kind of weird play. For a scavenger to go down on 2 tiles of carbon that
Yeah.
are 1 stacks. That's definitely something to consider always. That's wow.
Man, it was risky playing scavenger with that little bit of carbon. That's exactly what we were talking about, and you pointed out, I believe, at the start of this game, and it came
Yeah.
through, for sure. And also, another great thing to point out is I believe Phreak made the push for level 5 at the end of the game, and think about how much carbon that cost, and think about the price of carbon. It's like 480 carbon, I think, to hit HQ level 5. Carbon was at a good $60 plus for most of that time. So what if he had just committed all that money into buying indecision out at that point? If he had been able to make pushes instead of reinvesting, he might have lived long enough or made the game short enough, I suppose, to finish it out.